Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to the CSR Universe Leaders Talk segment, your gateway to invaluable insights from industry stalwarts and thought leaders in the realms of social philanthropy, CSR, and ESG. And today, it is our distinct pleasure to introduce our esteemed guest for this enlightening discussion, Mr. Govind Iyer, the All India Chairperson of Social Venture Partners, SVP India. A hearty welcome to you, sir. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Ruchika, for this opportunity to speak to you and share my thoughts. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, sir. So, in our conversation today, we aim to delve into the world of engaged philanthropy and also explore its nuances and how it is different from traditional philanthropy. Additionally, we'll also uncover the core initiatives of SVP India and their collective impact on communities across the nation. Now, before we embark on this insightful discussion, let's take a moment to understand the roots of SVP India. So, founded in Seattle in 1997, Social Venture Partners (SVP) has grown into a global network spanning 43 cities in 8 countries. This impactful model, involving over 3,400 partners globally, strategically consolidates contributions to support rigorously vetted non governmental organizations, resulting in over $80 million in grants. Now, SVP India, as an integral part of this global platform, operates with precision, strategically supporting NGOs over a 3-year partnership guided by lead partners with specialized professional skills. Now, as we turn our discussion to with Mr. Govind Iyer, we aim not only to glean insights from his distinguished career, but also to unravel the transformative journey of SVP India under his guidance. Mr. Iyer, a dynamic force in various impactful initiatives, also serves as an independent director at Infosys, who chairs the Corporate Social Responsibility Committee and is a senior advisor at Warburg Pincus. Retiring as a partner from Egon Zehnder, his extensive background spans roles at Procter& Gamble, Coca-Cola, and Heinz. As a Living My Promise signatory and board member at Give India, Mr. Iyer actively contributes to Karam Yogi Bharat, the Convergence Foundation, and Project Mumbai, among others, showcasing his commitment to diverse philanthropic endeavors. So it's an honor to have Mr. Iyer with us today, and we eagerly anticipate the wealth of knowledge that he will bring to this conversation today. So once again, a very warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Ruchika, for that. Happy to share my perspectives. SVP is clearly something that's front and center for me. So happy to talk about anything that you'd like me to share about.
Yes, so we'd like to begin with this question. What exactly is this engaged philanthropy and how does it differ from the traditional philosophy? And can you align that with the core initiatives and the main mission of SVP India?
So, so I'll start, Ruchika, with a perspective of an Indian citizen in India that I have. India's always been a giving culture. We give a lot in kind. You'll never find a situation where even if you go to a village or any house in India, and the first thing they do is offer you food. The next thing they do is make sure that you eat well.
Yes.
It could be a stranger, it could be a best friend. We've always believed in helping others in kind, and we've always believed in being there for others. So I think we're a very giving culture as a society. However, over the years, we've not had the financial resources to give as much as the in-kind resources to give. So
Mhm.
I know stories where was told to me by many people, I've not experienced myself, where people have very little to eat, but they'll still offer to others, even though they'll eat less that day because they know their body can suffice. But financial giving started probably around 20, 25 years ago, and
Mhm.
people started using the word charity. So I'm giving in charity, and people started cutting checks, including me. But I would cut checks out of pity, or I would cut checks out of a cause. And as I reflected on this about 10 years ago, I
Mhm.
felt more than the money. I think it's the value of time and wisdom and experience that we can share with the ecosystem of philanthropy that'll actually make the difference. I think money does, But I think at SVP, we believe the 550 partners we have across India, if each of us shares a couple of hours of experience every month towards not-for-profits, they will benefit from the wisdom that we've accumulated over the years.
Right.
Not that we have more wisdom than them, but a different kind of perspective. And through this journey, I also feel we as SVP partners learn a lot about
Hmm.
the social sector. I
Hmm.
personally have gone through a huge unlearning journey and a learning journey. Um, for me, my world was only the corporate world.
Hmm.
But 10 years ago, when I got engaged in the social sector, I realized there's a different world out there. There's a different reality out there.
Right.
And it's helped me become more sensitive, more caring, more humble, and learning from how you can maximize with the least resources.
Hmm.
Uh, I was used to doing things with lots of resources at, at an Egon Zender, at a Procter& and Gamble, at a Coca-Cola, or Heinz. But these organizations don't have resources. So for me, engage philanthropy really means engaging with the philanthropy, engaging with the social sector, engaging with the cause,
Hmm.
engaging with the reality of India. And it's less about just cutting a check or giving money. It's about working with your money to make it work even harder.
Hmm.
And that was a movement brought to India 11 years ago by Ravi Venkateshan, who was our founder chairperson. And he and I were fortunate to be part of the first board of SVP India.
Right.
Ganesh Rajan was our second leader who led SVP across India, and
Hmm.
I took on this role 3 years ago, and it's been a very fulfilling journey
Hmm.
in really getting individuals to discover their own passion, their own inner passion in engaged philanthropy.
Okay. And we believe that SVP India started its operations in 2012. So, since that time, what has been the core initiatives of SVP India and how customized they are, looking at the dynamics, the culture of India? And can you also shed some light on the collective impact that your organization has made?
The first question was around the core impact, the core of SVP. So, firstly, the core of SVP is we are like an incubator.
Mm-hmm.
We love to take individuals who aren't as engaged in the sector or those who are engaged but want to engage differently
Right.
and help them through their journey. So we have a staff team of nearly 15 to 17 people across India in our 8 cities that work with our partners. We call them partners as individuals. We call them partners
Mm-hmm.
to really help them understand where they want to work within the sector.
Right.
Many of them don't know what they want to do, including myself 12 years ago. Uh, some of them know. Some of them are from the sector, they know a lot. But
Mm-hmm.
many of them don't know. The first thing we do is discovery. Help them discover what they want to do. That's a very unique offering of SVP. No other organization in India really engaging with an individual to help them, soak in the philanthropic sector. And we
Mm-hmm.
do that, giving them an exposure to different not-for-profits by allowing them to visit them, by inviting them to talks by other philanthropists, and understanding from each other, the peer group, the community,
Mm-hmm.
how can they engage in philanthropy? That kind of is a 3 to 6 month journey for a new partner, for a new individual. And what SVP is very unique is we have different solutions for different people. There's no one size fits all. So you may choose to want to engage with women empowerment. I may want to choose to engage with the environment.
Mm-hmm.
Different people may want to engage differently.
Mm-hmm.
Some may want to work with an NGO, some may want to work in advocacy, some may want to work just in helping SVP as an organization. We offer all sorts of opportunities to our partners. So that's the biggest differentiator of SVP as a model. The second thing is we help you find a way to work with the not-for-profit to leverage your experience for you to learn from them, for you to enable them to do much more with their same resources, financial and non-financial.
Mm-hmm.
And over the 3 years, you talked about impact. We've been very fortunate. We've picked the right NGOs.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that earlier. We have a very strong due diligence process of vetting the right NGOs. And over the last 11 years, we've worked with about 130 not-for-profits. And we
Mm-hmm.
can proudly say that most of them, if not all of them, have enormously benefited from anywhere from a 3x to a 6x growth in
Mm-hmm.
whatever they wanted to achieve. It could be financially, through their funds, it could be through beneficiary impact, It could be through just making a deeper impact in the society that they're in. But
Hmm.
we have very privileged to be part of that journey. And the credit all goes to them. We are just enablers, advisors, and really help them in that journey.
Okay. So we were talking about the NGOs, in India. They are definitely, they come from India being so, dynamic in nature, cultural differences, then geographical differences. So were there any challenges initially that SVP India faced, during, implementing your initiatives?
So I think early on we had two big challenges. One is our NGOs did not know how to leverage the advice of our partners. They'd never been used to engage philanthropy. They had
Right.
always been used to getting money and then people walking away and coming back to them every 6 months and saying, "How's it going?"
Hmm.
Here we are, here we were, a bunch of people with hopefully good heart, wanting to come in and say, let's spend time, Ruchika, if you were running a not-for-profit, let's spend time, understand what you're doing. How are
Hmm.
you doing it? Why are you doing it? Can we help you think it through? Can we expand your vision? And they were like, excuse me, nobody's ever come and talked to us and given us this advice. So we had a journey of engagement where we needed to educate our not-for-profits that we're here for them. We're not here to question them. We're
Hmm.
not here to challenge them. We're here to assist them. That took a time, both for the NGO but also the partner, the individual. I was used to a corporate world where, I commanded, I said something, it got done. That doesn't work in the not-for-profit ecosystem. So I had to unlearn my way of engaging with the not-for-profit.
Hmm.
That's been a journey over the first 3 to 5 years, which we collectively experienced and we went through. Today, many NGOs know what we do, so word of mouth has been very strong. So certain NGOs that don't want active engagement don't really come to SVP, and we don't
Okay.
actively solicit them. They can get funding from anywhere else. But those that actively want our not for our partners to help them, they
Hmm.
are the ones that come to us the most. So that was probably our biggest challenge initially.
Okay, so there must be some kind of selection criteria also. We've already spoken about the process that you go through. So can you just shed some light on both the process and the selection criteria of the NGOs? What exactly do you look for when you are talking to an NGO?
So, Ruchika, there'll be two selection processes here. Pardon my saying it, but even the partner selection is critical.
Right.
We have to get the right SVP partners as well. I'll talk
Absolutely.
about the partners first and the NGOs later.
Sure. Sure.
I think the first thing is that we do a series of conversations with potential individuals who want to join SVP to
Hmm.
make sure that they understand our model is advisory, our
Hmm.
model is giving capital but also time. Our model is one where we need to unlearn and learn sometimes, where we need to be there for the not for profit, and it's not the vice versa. It's not the power that we have that influence over them.
Yeah.
So we do a fair amount of education. In that process, some partners drop off and some come on. Individuals join us or don't join us. That's their choice. We've been fortunate that over the last 11 years, we've probably had very few examples of individuals who came in and probably less than 2 or 3% of the partners who came in and felt this is not their journey in life. But
Hmm.
have we had 2 or 3% of our partners who made that call? Yes, we have. And that's there with any organization bias.
Hmm.
On the NGO side, our staff members, our CEOs of our various chapters, play a very important role in investing early on in the due diligence of the not-for-profit from first a factual basis,
Hmm.
and then we have anywhere from 1 to 3 partners engage with that NGO for about 4 to 6 weeks to
Okay.
really understand what they're doing, how they're doing it. This
Hmm.
is before we've given them any money. This is
Hmm.
before we've actively sort of onboarded them in a sense.
Okay.
And after that 6 week journey, we take our recommendation to what's called the grants committee, which is a
Hmm.
subgroup of partners between 8 and 10 partners. And we explain to them what this not-for-profit is doing. And the part that grants committee approves a grant. So it's a questioning opportunity for us to be questioned by the grants committee. And the grants committee, once it approves the grant, ask the not-for-profit to do a work plan or how will they use the resources we give to deliver not our money but the biggest impact for the not-for-profit. So it's less about what will they do with the 10 or 15 lakhs we give them. It's
Hmm.
more with how are they going to take the journey of their not-for-profit. That's what we are more keen on. What will that really mean for them? How will they enable that 10 lakh or 15 lakhs to galvanize their growth? So our process is initially data verified,
Hmm.
then 4 to 6 weeks of deep engagement, then the grants committee engaging with them. And most of our NGOs would get a grant within 3 months. That's our aspiration,
Okay.
sometimes within 4 months of engaging with us. So
Okay.
it's a immersive process. Not every NGO likes it, but we believe it's very important for us to do it so that we pick the right not-for-profits that our partners can work with and benefit.
Okay, great. So, coming back to SVP India's partners, what role exactly do they play or assume to support the non-profits for the broader SVP community? Also, aligned with that question is that at your level, what are the strategies that you employ to empower the and support the growth of local non-profits and social enterprises?
Okay, so there are two or three things. One, it really depends a lot on the partner.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a one size fits all. So if you speak to 7 NGOs in India across the 7 cities that we are operational in,
Mm-hmm.
the eighth one, Chennai, we're just starting. And if you speak to 5 NGOs, you might get very different answers from the way our partners have contributed. So let me start by saying that we believe it's an individualized experience. It's
Mm-hmm.
not an institutional template that goes. Um, the broad areas where NGOs get impacted by SVP and where SVP partners benefit from is firstly in helping them by thinking through how are they going about implementing their programs. Can we help them be more efficient? Can we help them get a better narrative? Can we help them position their NGO much better in the ecosystem? This involves helping them raise funds. This involves helping them with their pitch story. This
Mm-hmm.
involves helping them with thinking through how can we get more people engaged with our NGO. So our partners play a very active role with what I call outreach. The
Mm-hmm.
second area where they play an active role is sharing wisdom. So whether it's organization structure, whether it's finance, whether it's governance, some of our partners are with a finance background, some come with a marketing background, some come with just pure knowledge and experience of common sense in some ways, but knowledge and empathy to be able to do things. They may not have had a corporate career. One of our partners is a sculptor who's done art all their life,
Wow.
and they've come in and helped an NGO really with a different way. So we have a diverse base of partners, some very senior corporate leaders,
Right.
some individuals who never worked in the corporate world, but
Mm-hmm.
all of them find a different way in impacting not-for-profit. So I can't give you a clear answer, a succinct one, but the NGOs tell us that the impact that they've had is across this canvas of how can help them grow, how can help them get more efficient, and
Mm-hmm.
finally how can they become much more sensitive to what others may need. Um, for our partners, the journey has been one of discovery, one of engagement, and most importantly, one of sharing a lot of what they've had over their 15, 20, 25 years to a group of people that have never had the benefit of that knowledge because these not-for-profits don't have the same resources as the for-profit world.
Mm-hmm. I understand. That's great. So, if you can, share some examples or case studies where, that an impact has been made, which can be replicated by like-minded institutions like yours.
So I think my message to the world out there is SVP is just one of many enablers and catalysts in the ecosystem. There
Right.
are many others in India that are doing outstanding work.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, my own submission to the funders or the donors
Mm-hmm.
is definitely donate, give your money with your heart and your head, but make an effort to engage with that money. You may be a large donor, you may be a CSR leader of a big company. You can give your money, but either have your employees volunteer. Volunteering is a big movement. Have employees volunteer to work with that NGO. Uh, have at least once a quarter go out there and see what they're doing because the wisdom you can give them, the experience you can give them is phenomenal. So the request I have is don't only look at giving the money for monitoring purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Give the money and give your heart, give your experience to not-for-profits. They need it. They need a lot of that. They are an amazing group of leaders in the not-for-profit ecosystem. I admire them for what they've been doing over the last many years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a strong believer that they are the ones that at the last mile make a difference to society in India. And we need to enable them, give them the support,
Mm-hmm.
most positively, not believe that they're taking our money, and they need to be accountable for our money. We
Hmm.
don't do that with the for-profit world. We very easily give money to the for-profit world. Let's easily give to the not-for-profit world also.
Right.
Because my experience has been that there's a lot more good in the not-for-profit world than we believe there is.
Absolutely true. I do believe that in that. And I was asking if you could share some case studies that have, really, caught your attention.
There are many case studies. I'll talk of a few across our cities. So, there's, I'd say the biggest one that has hit my heart is the area of women empowerment and inclusion, and in both those cases, one organization that I can speak of,
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't want to take names and differentiate one not-for-profit versus the other, so I'll just talk about what they do. So there's a
Absolutely.
not-for-profit that's focused on specifically helping women in
Mm-hmm.
the who've never worked, who've never earned a livelihood, to come in and work for a few hours, earn a livelihood, and give them the power of economic freedom,
Hmm.
which to some extent, Ruchika, gives them the power at home. And people like me and you and others, we have our freedom, but a lot of women in India don't have the freedom, and they're determined a lot by the patriarchal system.
That's true.
And earning a livelihood allows them to educate their children, allows them to have a voice in the house. So we have a not-for-profit that started small with the 2025 women, and
Mm-hmm.
today has scaled to multiple cities, multiple centers, and is really empowering, over 100,000 women to really make a difference to their lives. And that's not just women, that's actually the children that get educated, the family culture that's changed, the orientation of independence. And to me, that's a real, what I would call community impact. It's
Mm-hmm.
less about event, because 100,000 people, working is really 500,000 people being benefited, because the family is made up of 4 to 5 people in India. And I think that's one example of what I call women empowerment leading to livelihood, leading to community change, and
Hmm.
leading to dramatic ability for children to get educated and children to learn, have an identity. Another example is around inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
We have organizations that we have supported, about 17 of them across India,
Mm-hmm.
largely for people with disabilities, people who've been sexually exploited, people who are not part of the core society that I'm part of or you are part of. And
Mm-hmm.
we have chosen to see how we can include them in our society. And we as SVP have gone out there and made an effort to give them respect, give them a status, give them a livelihood, provide them job opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
provide them the opportunity to really make a difference. So, there are many organizations that we have worked with, 17, as I mentioned, across India, all focused on areas of getting individuals who are what I would call going through who are not in the mainstream, getting them into the mainstream of life.
Mm-hmm.
So I think women empowerment and livelihood inclusion are two very strong focus areas. We also work in environment. We also work in a variety of different ways to assist in livelihood, urban livelihood. We work in mental health. We work in a variety of different ways. But these are two examples that have been closest to my heart in the impact that we've had in India.
Okay. So I think local community engagement is very important to, expedite the efforts of both the NGOs, SVP India, and of course your partners. So can you tell me in what ways does SVP India engage local communities and collaborate with various stakeholders to address these societal challenges that we have?
I'll give you an example. In one of our cities recently, we ran uh, a program which we advertised a lot,
Mm-hmm.
which talked about bringing a bunch of not-for-profits together and getting the entire city to see what these not-for-profits do. We've done that in a variety of different ways in different cities of SVP across India.
Okay.
And that exposure led our community recognize that this is fabulous work happening just down the road,
Mm-hmm.
which they did not know. That allowed them to do two things. One is engage with their money, the second is engage with their time. And many of them have chosen to have their organizations volunteer their citizens, their employees towards doing some citizen movement. So I think our goal within our 7, 8 cities is really to say, how can we drive impact by engaging the community to work with our SVP NGOs,
Mm-hmm.
our SVP partners, by expanding beyond our own family, not forcing them to become partners, not forcing them to give money, but even giving their time and money to the ecosystem is a big help. So I think that's been our biggest. Going forward, Ruchika, in the next maybe 5, 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
we hope to do a lot more work around advocacy, which we've not done much of.
Okay.
We hope to engage with the government and
Mm-hmm.
share how we can work with the government to drive greater impact. Those are opportunities for the future, but not leveraged so far.
Okay, okay. So also, since SVP is a global network, it operates globally. So can you tell me what kind of knowledge or what kind of resources is SVP India leveraging from its global network and applying it in the Indian context?
Okay, great question. Firstly, SVP is a federated model. So all the countries in the world and all the SVP affiliates, as we call them,
Mhm.
work independently. There's no diktat. It's not a top-down model. So it's up to us to leverage the most from the SVP ecosystem.
Mhm.
Uh, the brand is something that we use, which we are very privileged to use. We have a lot of knowledge that resides with a lot of our affiliates who've been longer than us, who've been in operation for 25 plus years. We reach out to them to find ways in which we can learn from them, in the way they engage with not-for-profits, in the way they engage with the community.
Right.
One initiative that we brought in from the SVP Global System, which has been the most innovative initiative in India, is
Mm-hmm.
something called Fast Pitch. Fast Pitch is something we brought in into 2022, where
Okay.
basically we had 12 not-for-profits speak for 5 minutes, 300 seconds. That's all they had,
Okay.
and share their message to an audience across India of
Wow.
over 2,000 people on Zoom. And that audience spontaneously decided to make a contribution to that NGO. And
Wonderful.
in the last two editions, we've been able to raise over 7 crores through these initiatives for those 12 NGOs every year. So 24 NGOs benefited. And we trained these individuals for nearly 2.5 months how to get their story in 300 seconds. I mean, if you had to ask me to explain my life in 300 seconds, I'll find it very difficult.
Yes.
But these people were explaining in 300 seconds what they do. And the power of that communication led to that 7.5 crores being given by individuals who had never known them, who were on the Zoom, and who were just touched by their story and said, "We'll contribute." This is an SVP international initiative which we brought to India and which has been a significant driver of our exposure, our community impact, and building capacity in the ecosystem.
It's very, very inspiring and also very heartwarming that you were able to, have such an impact on the stakeholder. That's really good. So, moving on to my next question, what inspired you to get involved with SVP India? Looking at your background, spanning a spectrum of influential positions. So, how did you?
So I think it happened very accidentally. I'll start with that. There was no grand plan, there was no grand vision. It
Okay.
happened very accidentally when Ravi, my friend and someone I'd worked with very closely, Ravi Venkatesan, reached
Uh-huh.
out to me and said, "Would you like to join the board of this institution that I'm setting up?"
Right.
And I said, "Tell me more what they do." And he said, "I'm not going to tell you anything. Just join the board. Then we'll discuss later." And that's how my journey with SVP started, with no knowledge of what I was getting into, except the trust of my friend that he knows what I like, and I'm sure he's going to do the right thing by getting me on. So my journey started there. And then within a few years, I realized that the India I lived in and the India that existed,
Hmm.
the real India that existed outside of my own bubble, was a very different. And
Hmm.
I said, this is the movement SVP that I'm really going to big on, try to grow and scale.
Hmm.
And in fact, we set some very ambitious goals in 2013, 14.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be realized. And as I went along, I realized that I have a lot of opportunity to do beyond SVP. And that's when Give India came in. Give
Mm-hmm.
India is a platform. So we raise capital so that's not engaged philanthropy. That's raising capital for not-for-profits.
Okay.
And Give India was a fantastic journey, started by a gentleman called Venkat Krishnan, who's
Mm-hmm.
been my inspiration and somebody I've looked up to over the years. And Atul Satija, who took over from Venkat in the last 4 or 5 years, has done a phenomenal job in pivoting Give India to be India's largest donor platform in the country. So I had one of not-for-profit which I was engaging with on SVP, and then I'd Give India. And along the way, I realized as I was retiring from Egon Zender last year that I wanted to do a lot more work in capacity building in the sector. I wanted to build capacity so that over the next 10 years, I
Mhm.
can be proud of the fact that this sector has gained from the experience of my experience, but the experience of many, many other people in the sector. So that's what led me to work with the other not-for-profits, the Convergence Foundation, Project Mumbai, Karmayogi Bharat,
Mhm.
you know, and then about 5 years ago, the gentleman Venkat Krishnan, who I mentioned earlier, reached out to me to say, why don't we all collectively decide to do a lot more for India? And we started something called Living My Promise, which is a movement of the first time in India, where now there are nearly 130 of us
Mhm.
across India who
Mhm.
have who have pledged to contribute 50% or more of our net worth
Mhm.
towards philanthropic causes during our lifetime or in our will. So we're prepared to, and I would say, anecdotally, I'd say out of the 130, more than half are going to give more than 50%. I personally am going to give much more. And the idea being that, we've come into this world, we are blessed. We come with nothing, we leave with nothing. Along the way, we've been very fortunate in our generation to earn a lot more than we believe we need for our retirement. Our children, give them the values, give them the education, give them the independence. Most of us never depended on our parents for our careers after a certain age, maybe 30 or so. So provide for them a little bit. You don't need to provide everything for them.
Mhm.
So the diversity of the Living My Promise promisers is very, very large. It's not all who have money. It's also those who have made a clear commitment that we're going to leave this world at some point. We're not mortal. We are going to be leaving this world. So whatever we have, let's give it towards people who need it much more than we did. And
Absolutely.
this is the movement that really has touched my heart and made me feel that there's a lot that I've got to achieve in the next 10 years in philanthropy by getting many, many more people engaged.
I'm absolutely floored to hear the kind of passion that you have for your work. Best of luck for everything, for all your endeavors. And my the other question again, arises from your background, your illustrious professional background, that you are at the CSR committee. So, how do you believe CSR, corporate social responsibility initiatives, can be more effectively integrated into the core business strategies of companies like Infosys?
So, so I'll first talk about the CSR program as a whole across India for a minute, and then I'll talk about the Infosys connection. Um, I think firstly, the CSRs as donors need to work together. I'm of the belief that I haven't seen much of that. I hope there is, but I haven't seen much. And I'm going to take it on myself over the next 5 to 7 years to get us as CSR leaders to work together to help the ecosystem. So if Infosys or HDFC Bank or Tata Steel or in Unilever are all finding fantastic causes to invest their
Mm,
money behind through the CSR journey, I'd love for us to know all that they do so that I can, as Infosys, also join those movements. Because if you can identify 300, 500, 800 great not-for-profits and movements that are working across the country, let's all collectively work to make them stronger and bigger. So I think the one thing is donor collaboration, donor sharing in
mm,
the CSR side is something that I'm very passionate about. And
mhm.
I'd love to talk with you and the CSR universe at some point of time to say, how can we make that a really big mission? Today, I see much less of it than I would like to. The second is Infosys actually, I joined the board only in January, but Infosys has had a foundation way before the 2% CSR rule came in.
Right.
So the founders of Infosys were very committed to doing social impact and community impact. So
Mm,
the Infosys Foundation is over 25 years old. So it started much before the CSR Act. Uh, and it's a way for Infosys to believe that capitalism is not everything in life. We've also got a purpose in this world to also
true.
provide social impact, social justice, and be there for individuals with the capital that we have.
Right.
So I think in the case of Infosys, I've been surprised and impressed and very humbled by the way they've integrated CSR into each of the distribution centers across, as Infosys has many distribution centers across where we have our employees across different cities. Each one does its own CSR in its local community.
Mhm.
The foundation does work across India. Employees get actively engaged.
Mm,
And I find that Infosys is an example of an organization that's really engaging with philanthropy is has really surprised me. Um, so I would say the opportunity is still much more. We can do a lot more of engagement, but I do believe at this point of time, I don't know too many companies, but of the 15, 20 that I have worked with in my Egon Zehnder career, I think
Mhm.
Infosys stacks up as one that's really done a great job of engaging CSR and the Infosys vision
Mhm.
together.
Okay, great. So one last question, looking ahead, what are the key priorities and future plans for SVP India?
So I think the biggest one is really to make sure that we, as an institution, identify the right not-for-profits,
Mhm.
work with them with their vision in mind, and enable them to do really well. So what we've done the last 11 years, we want to step up that contribution much more over the next 11. So if we've achieved 100, I would love to say we want to achieve 300x. Okay, 3x or 300%. The first is growth with the not-for-profit ecosystem and our partner ecosystem. The second is the purpose. Why are we here? We would love to be in a position where at some point of time, people say being with SVP has enabled us to become better individuals,
Right.
and for not-for-profits to say the advice, support, and we get from SVP, nobody else really provides that in the engaged philanthropy model. And the third is if there are other organizations that want to collaborate and partner with SVP, we'd be
Mhm.
delighted to work with them. We're a neutral body. We're here to work with any kind of organization that really wants to work with the not-for-profit ecosystem and make it a sustainable ecosystem. We would love to do that over the next 10 years. So I'm not going to put out audacious goals, or I'm not going to put numbers out there, Ruchika. It's a lot of the heart that should drive our decision. It's not the head.
Absolutely amazing. It was really, really enriching talking to you. And we would also like to collaborate with you. Please let us know in whichever way we can assist you and be your partners as well and help you with your engaged philanthropy initiatives. So
Thank
thank
you
you
very
so
much
much.
for this opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Govind Iyer. It was wonderful talking to you. And we wish you all the best for all your endeavors. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.